Hi, everyone, and welcome to Bicycle Moments. Today, we are joined by Eva. Eva is one of us, and when I say one of us, she's one of the Joyriders, and more importantly, she's one of the founding members of Joyriders. And today, we get to talk to her a little bit about cycling, a little bit about herself, and as usual, I'm joined by my host, Kahaki.
Hello.
Yeah, say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Bicycle Stories.
Right. So, over to you, Eva. I mean, we're so happy to have you here. We missed you last time, but better late than never.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here, actually.
Fantastic. Yes. So, tell us, Eva, unpack Eva Nderu.
Good Lord. Where do I begin?
Yes.
Eva Nderu is an education consultant. Let me start there.
Okay.
Because I'm passionate about education and everything teaching.
Right.
Which probably led to the co-founding of Joyriders. I started riding during the Corona pandemic.
Yes.
I used to run, actually. Did you know that about me?
No, I didn't.
No.
I used to run, not very long. I'm not madness like you guys, but I used to run between 5 and 15 kilometers every day. Check me out.
Come on. By the way, this is a revelation.
News, imagine.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yep.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So, because aches and pains, I need to do something more vigorous. Until Evelyn called me one day, Evelyn Getao, who you both know very well.
Yeah.
She called me one day and she said, I met these guys. They said, I've never ridden before. They said, I'd like to, if I come and ride with them, 3 sessions is all it'll take and I'll be riding.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, whatever. Anyway, so that's how I fell into cycling.
Yeah.
So we started cycling during Corona, and for almost 4 years later, here we are.
Right. And it's been a marvelous ride.
It has
Pun
been.
intended.
Very funny. Yes, but true.
Yeah.
It has been a marvelous ride. There have been amazing ups. There have been, unfortunate downs. In my case, in the last 6 months or so, I haven't been on a bicycle very much because I had some injuries, mainly because of, bad posture. When you get tired and a bit lazy, you start doing things you ought not to be doing.
Right.
So there are bits and pieces of myself that are a little bit painful.
Right.
And so it was recommended that I stay off the bicycle for maybe 3 months or so.
Right.
It ended up being 5.
Right.
But I'm getting back.
You're slowly
back on the saddle, so to speak.
Right.
So tell us, Eva, you when you started riding, you were like us, like kind of newbie, etc. Then Rose and I, as we said in our previous interview with Joyriders, we took a break from it, or we stopped for whatever reason before we came back. And when we came back, you guys had gone from 0 to 125.
Yes.
And literally.
Yes.
And you went on to do a lot of competitions and really became a very strong rider. Just tell us a little bit about that journey, and then really what are the things that happened? What are the positive things that happened through that?
Okay. Like I said, we started in August, and I had a really bodore bicycle. And no offense to the person who gave it to me, a really bodore bicycle.
Yeah.
Translation, it was terrible. It was very heavy.
Yeah.
And as you now know, a heavy bicycle makes life very difficult when you're especially when you're going uphill.
Yes.
So I had that bicycle for maybe 6 months, and I struggled. So one of the things that Angie, the captain of Joyriders, and I really used to celebrate was from 5 kilometers to 7 kilometers. It was very exciting. It was so exciting that we'd have to go out for dinner and drinks. I mean, it was like, yes!
And then from 7 to 10.
And then from 7 to 10, 10 to 12. We really felt like we were achieving.
Right.
So in October of 2020, the coaches decided to enter us into an individual time trial race in Kimuka. And if you know Kimuka, the hills are like this.
The hills are hills.
The hills are real hills before you get to mountain level.
Yeah.
It was 36 kilometers, and everyone was sort of passing us by as though we had parked. You're cycling with everything you've got. And then you start asking yourself, isn't it just worth it? I should just get off the bike, sit on the tarmac, because everybody's passing me as though that's how I am. Then it rained very heavily. But I finished. So that was the beginning of my love affair with cycling.
Right.
Shortly after that, I got myself a bicycle, you know, like the one I have now. And I realized it was actually a lot of fun riding with a proper bicycle that moves, that sort of I can connect to. We've been talking about this a little bit. You put your cleats in the pedals and you move. It's like one animal moving together.
Yes. It's a well-oiled machine.
It's a well-oiled machine. So fast forward, I was entered into several races. I must say I was entered into several races.
You didn't enter yourself.
I didn't enter myself. In fact, most of the time I was kicking and screaming. But I ended up on the podium. I'd enter a race, and whether it was on road or off road, and I'd be on the podium, third place, second place, in one instance, first place. Yay! So that's how I really got into cycling. Between 2020 and 2021, we were riding maybe 6 days a week.
Wow.
So when you guys were on break, Angie and I were cycling with the kids, and we'll talk about the kids a little bit. But we were cycling with those guys, and they're really sort of inspiring and scary at the same time.
Yes, they are.
5-year-old just.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were training with them every day.
Okay.
And I think by the end of 2021, it was I felt like a natural cyclist.
Right.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and there were some things that happened. So I'm going to tell a short story. I remember when we were coming back to cycling, and I met you and Angie. And I was talking to Angie because in my mind, the person Angie was sitting with, I didn't know that person.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
And I'm talking to Angie, and Angie tells me, Kaki, why don't you say hi to Eva?
That was at a party, right?
Yes.
I remember
I look
that.
and I'm just like, but who is this person?
What happened?
I mean, because literally, Eva, you had lost like half of yourself.
I was half the woman I used to be.
So when you went out, when you started cycling, did you think that would be one of the? There are many, so many positive aspects that happen when you cycle. Did you expect that to be one of the big ones?
No.
Yeah.
So I lost 20 kgs, about 20 kgs within 1 year. I was 89 kilos. And then when I weighed myself a year later, I was 67 kilos. And part of me was a bit shocked, frankly. You know, as you're wearing your clothes, you notice they're getting a little looser. You're feeling very fit, but weight loss was not my plan. It was not my plan. One of the things I really enjoyed, of course, about cycling is just the freedom of being outside, speed. Because sometimes, you know, with that speed, it feels like you're flying. It's so great.
Yes.
Sometimes it's so great, it's scary, but it's so great.
Yes.
I really enjoyed that.
Yes.
And I enjoyed the feeling of strength.
Okay.
I think that's one of the things that I really enjoyed and I still do.
Yeah.
Especially now that I'm getting back on the bicycle, I can feel myself. Like this morning, I was like, yes, my legs are getting stronger. My back is getting stronger. I love that feeling.
You're back with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice. As you talk about speed, maybe it's just important for our audience to know in which age bracket you fall in, so they understand. Because I can tell you, you zoom past people in their teens, 20s, 30s. Shall I continue?
Consistency, 30s, 40s. I'm actually in my 50s. Right. I'm turning 53 next month. And now in cycling, I'm not a veteran, which is 40s to 50s. I graduated to a master's level, which is a category that we don't often talk about, especially in this part of the world. And in fact, there are a lot of competitions where if you enter as a master's, they're like, yay, well done you. But, you're not really recognized as a competitive
because we're not a cycling nation.
Yes, we're not a cycling nation. It's picking up though. It's picking up. I have to say that.
So the older people won't really be there. I think we're the ones to take it to that level.
I think we are the pioneers. So the big advantage about being a masters, and especially a female masters, is I can race at 2 kilometers an hour. I most likely will still be on the podium because at the moment there are like 3 of us. The competition is nil.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So we should aspire to be a master.
That's where we're right on your heels.
Oh my God.
In cycling, tumekaa kwa mguu.
Tumekaa kwa mguu. Close the gap.
Close the gap.
Yes.
Closing the gap.
Exactly.
So Eva, tell me, what have you seen cycling do for you from your professional perspective, your personal perspective? You've talked about, losing weight, but what else has it done for you?
I think one of the things it's done for me is increase my confidence.
Okay.
It's also reduced my fear of the unknown. It's a weird thing. It's a good question that you ask, because I've never really thought about it. Yes, in my professional life, with the kinds of things I'm doing now. I started my own consultancy firm last year. I've been an employee for X number of years, almost 30 years. And I've been working in the international development world, in education. And, being an employee, there's a certain level of comfort. Also a certain level of control. And it's actually through cycling, now that I think about it, that I realized, okay, so there are some things that we do on the bicycle, and you're like, I'll never be able to succeed at this. I'll never be, what happens next? And in late 2022, I thought, I'm not very happy for various reasons. And just like bicycling, maybe I should start something of my own. People have always suggested, encouraged, but I always said, no.
That's not for me.
Every employer needs employees. That was my... And now I guess I'm a sort of an employer. I'm certainly an employer of myself. And so the last year and a half has been going really well.
Okay.
So having cycled for 4 years, I'm sure there's, I would say, pellets of, wisdom, little nuggets you'd like to share with either beginner cyclists or people in the process. You say you're nursing an injury, perhaps you have a learning out of that injury, maybe something didn't go right. Yeah, just share. What have you learned in that 4-year period as a cyclist?
Lots of lessons. One, I've always thought this, but I think cycling has emphasized that everybody has an experience that can teach you. We mentioned earlier these children. When we first started riding with them, you remember the 5-year-old, Jogona, who is now 9, almost 10. And this kid would, he would do amazing things to me. If there was a hill, he would just shimmy up it on his bicycle. If we were in the forest and there were roots and rocks and things, this kid would just move like a mountain goat. I mean, I used to get really annoyed, frankly, with this 5-year-old kid. And so one day, we were riding together and we were trying to go down a slippery slope in the forest, in Gong Forest, and there were rocks and all sorts of things, and he was asked to demonstrate as usual. And I really tried 2 or 3 times. Finally, he's the one who came up to me and he said, you know what, Eva, nifuate, follow me, and do what I do. Have you ever been led by a 5-year-old? But at the end of that, I was like, everybody can be a teacher. So everybody has a valuable lesson to teach. I think that's one thing. Like I said, the fear factor. Yes, we can be afraid. But then sometimes just go ahead. Just close your eyes and embrace that fear, because then you'll reach new horizons. I think that has been demonstrated over and over and over again. What else? I think in terms of your physical self, you used to run, but then now you're cycling, more of the cycling in terms of how you do self-care in between the cycling days. So I do a lot of, I'm in the gym a lot these days. I've always liked the gym. So it's a bit frustrating that my coach at the gym is always saying, okay, no, you can't use weights, Eva. I used to be a competitive weightlifter once upon a time. And so now I'm just like, okay, you see the weights and you're like, but I can. So I use a lot of body weights, a lot of flexibility, a lot of repetition. Your core is really crucial. Kuri and Kamau were always saying, engage your core, relax your shoulders, engage your core. I never really got it. But now that my core is getting stronger, I really feel the difference. My core helps protect my back, which is where a lot of the pain is or was. Also, cycling is a lot easier on joints like my hips and my knees. Because that, through running, that those are 2 sets of joints that really struggle.
Injure quite quickly.
And so now with cycling, I can do a lot more, go a lot further without feeling the pain or the discomfort as much as I did when I was running.
Yeah.
Eating, everybody talks about nutrition.
Yes.
I'm kind of an eating machine. I have a very healthy relationship with my stomach, as you know. And with food. Yes, so I'll eat just about anything.
Yeah.
The only thing that I have changed recently that I didn't used to do so much is increase my protein intake. Because with protein, of course, you're fuller for longer, but it also goes into building those muscles.
Exactly.
Yeah. And water.
Okay.
Although we say drink water, hydrate, drink water.
Yeah.
I think if you drink juice, if you drink tea, if you drink, well, maybe not not wine and beer, but if you drink a lot of fluids, I think it contributes to that hydration thing.
Hydration element.
Yeah,
Okay.
because some injuries are related to your muscles just being dehydrated and strained.
Okay.
Good. So, Eva, we know you're a mom, specifically a mom of boys, teens, Gen Zs. Tell us a bit about how that relationship is going with you and cycling, and maybe how you've influenced them or not in the
As
process.
the case may be, right?
Yes.
So when we first started cycling, the boys used to come with me. Daudi is particularly concerned about where I go. He worries. He worries about his mom. I'm sure Masharia does too, but Daudi is much more outward about it. Yeah. And he wanted to know who these people are, where are we going, what is this forest? Why are you waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go cycling? What is all this insanity? But they used to come and join us, joyriders, and I think they enjoyed it until I broke them. I think I broke them on a long distance trip. We went to the Shimba Hills. We were staying on a farm, and they were very excited, as were the kids who we ride with in the joyriders. They were very excited because of the sea. And so when one morning we woke up, after arriving at the farm, and they said they wanted to go to the sea and they wanted to teach the other kids how to swim, and there was excitement and joy everywhere. And we rode down to the sea, which was at 25 kilometers away.
But
downhill. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
And they swam and everybody was exhausted. And then we had to go back to the farm in the evening. And that was 25 kilometers back.
So it was uphill.
Shimba Hills.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they were not happy. But the next day they woke up and they're like, okay, we can do this again.
Yeah.
And so we went down to the sea and we repeated the process. Day 3, Daudi was like, you guys can go to whatever sea you feel like going to.
Yeah.
I'm not boarding. That bicycle and me, we separated ways.
Yeah.
And actually, since then, he's really not joined the joyriders since, which was a real shame.
Yeah.
They're both good cyclists, but I think as teen, 17-year-olds, when it gets too tough, they're like,
Not now.
Yeah.
So now we have conversations. Where are you? Oh, okay, you're riding in Limuru. Okay, all right, we'll see you at home. Bye.
Lest you say, why don't you
join us?
Exactly.
Why don't you join us?
They're looking forward to driving next year.
Okay.
Because then they can be the sweepers.
Sweepers, yes.
But don't worry, the seed has been planted.
Yeah, you never know where to
it will sprout.
Ahead. You never know.
It will sprout.
Yeah.
You never
They've done
know.
it. They've seen you.
Yeah.
Yes.
It will come when you
Full
least
circle.
expect it.
Yes. That's the hope.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah.
At least.
So, Eva, any takeaways?
Any takeaways?
Takeaways. Last words.
Wow. Yes, I would say, particularly for women of a certain age, which I am, but particularly women of a certain age, get out and ride a bicycle. Yes, it's not what women do or grown-ups do, but it's worth it for your health, and it's both physical and mental.
Yeah.
So that's one. I would say, and I'm going to talk about fear one last time because that's something that women talk about much more. We are much more afraid of falling down, of getting things wrong, of what do people think. I think much more than men. And so I would say just forget that. Focus on yourself.
Right.
That fear eventually goes as your confidence grows.
As it builds up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the other thing to leave you with is how much the cycling has impacted other people. You don't realize just how much.
Right.
Like you say, we founded Joy Riders. We founded a sister organization called Outdoor Association, which is a non-profit that supports the boys that we ride with. And I say boys because there are very few girls at the moment. We are working on that. But sometimes you do things without really having you might have a vision, but you don't really know how much impact you're having on the people that you're talking to. So you can say something that comes back to you, X number of years later. So for example, Ben Dungo, who is now a semi-pro, proudly, we started with him, and I remember he used to be a difficult child.
I can imagine him.
He was so, he was quiet, but he was quietly stubborn. And just having conversations with him over time has sort of had an impact. I don't know what I said, but every now and then he'll send me an SMS and he'll say, or a WhatsApp message, sorry, Gen Z, a WhatsApp message to me and say, thanks, Mom. I'm glad that you encouraged me 2 years ago. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what I said, but it worked.
It worked.
So we have to be very thoughtful about the things that we say, no matter what our station.
Yeah. And the impact you're having, that outdoors is having on the boys, that's amazing.
Yes.
It's awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, Eva, I think it's great. It's great to see you aging backwards with all this newfound energy as you're on half-time or half-life, however you want to look at it. And I think for many women out there, it's an encouragement that there's no time or place to start anything, however big, challenging it is. I think that's our continuous story here at Baiskeli Stories. There's no time clock. So long as you put your mind to it,
just
do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Just start.
And find something you love.
Yes.
I think that's the other thing that sometimes we do. Oddly, we've still got peer pressure.
True.
So if I see that, Rose is a runner, I want to be a runner.
Yeah.
If I see Kahaki is cycling, I want to be a cyclist. But find something that you love. That gets your metabolism, your heart rate going up.
It gets you outside as well. I think
Yes,
outside,
I think
outdoors
let's go
is
outside.
amazing.
Whatever it is. And sometimes you may not really know whether you love it or not. What you shouldn't do is shy away from it.
Yes.
Give it a shot. Give it a try.
Yes.
And you never know.
It works.
You may fall in love with it and
Exactly.
it becomes your lifelong love.
Yeah.
So, it's been awesome catching up with you, Eva. As always, we call you our cheerleader, our heckler. We've missed you for the last 6 months on the road.
It's been quiet,
We look forward to having you back with us on our rides. Because you're always there. Actually, you're coach 2, coach B. And we like that. We like that you always keep the energies up. And we look forward to many more fun rides together.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. I mean, this is, again, congratulations. This is very exciting.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Eva.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it from us from Baiskeli Stories. This has been a Baiskeli moment with Eva Nderu and
Kahaki.
Goodbye. See you.
Thank you.
High fives.
High fives.